Did you receive one?
Oh, yeah. Get excited, guys.
Let me mute it. Hold up.
Hello?
Hello,
Hi,
YouTube.
everybody. What's happening?
Let me mute it. Hold up.
Oh,
Why you no mute?
weren't quick enough.
Okay, we ready. Hello, everybody.
What the fuck?
Okay, so this is our podcast. Hello. I hope you're enjoying yourself.
This is the Bros Talking
Okay,
Soccer
yeah,
podcast.
I was just getting ready, David. I was letting it set up. Hello, people. This is the Bros Talking Soccer podcast. This is episode 114. This is Matt to my right. Dave's over there in San Jose, California, being lame.
Hello.
All right. So, anyone have anything before we get started here that they would like to tell the YouTube listeners?
Guys, just expect a really high energy show. You can see it in Christian and Matt's faces right now. They're going to bring the heat. You know I am. And this is going to be an awesome show. So get excited. I am pumped.
I'm keeping this short. Like
That's why Matt only has
4
one
a.m.
topic this week.
Okay, guys, it's up to you. All right, this will be a good show. We promise, people.
I mean, I'm not going to make that promise.
I will stamp it.
I'm going to be hostile the entire time.
It's going to be crazy.
We are doing a show starting on Thursday. Get excited, people. An MLS show, MLS specific show on YouTube. So I'm pumped about that. What's up, guys? I like the energy.
I remembered a topic that I'm going to discuss really briefly, but it was hilarious. So.
All right, so look for that later on this episode, and then I'm also doing CONCACAF Champions League talk this week. That was a lot of fun last week. We'll talk about more about it when we're on the podcast, but people seem to like that, and so we're gonna do that again. Christian, whenever you are.
A trivia question. Okay, good.
Okay, whenever you. Okay, so you can take us away whenever.
Stop talking. I am ready.
It was Messi's 50th hat trick. Is that the answer?
That was going to be one, but I changed it. Ready? Everybody good? Yep. Okay, well, here we go. We're going to begin. Welcome, listeners. This is Bros Talking Soccer, episode 114. I'm here. I am Christian, by the way. I'm here with my brothers, Matthew and David. We're here to tell you about some soccer news going on in the world, and it's going to be fun. Everybody's high energy. Matthew, how you doing?
Doing gate.
He's doing gate.
Doing gate.
Gate.
Yeah. So yeah, doing great. It's very late here, so I might be cutting Matt's Megs a little short. It's almost midnight here, so we'll see how this goes.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. All right, David, go ahead. Tell us how you're doing.
Guys, I'm doing fantastic. Oh my God. Thank you so much for asking. I was a little under the weather. I'm fighting a little bit of a head cold, but Kristen and I were down in Long Beach, California, exploring that area this weekend, and overall just had a great time. The flight back was a little bit of a pain in the ass, specifically landing. My ears went haywire, but beyond that, it was fantastic. I also was complimented on my legs while in Long Beach by a man riding by on a bicycle with two small dogs in his backpack. He told Kristen, "Hey girl, your man's got nice legs," and kept riding. So guys, I'm feeling pretty good after that.
So was he talking quads, calves?
It was from behind. So I'm assuming probably butt and calves. Hun, would you care to weigh in on this topic?
Definitely not butt.
You don't think butt?
No, he complimented you on your legs.
Okay, so Kristen's pretty adamant that it was calves. I'm still not convinced because I got a whole lot going on down there that it could have been anything really. But it was from behind, so.
What do you got going on down there?
I just have a lot of muscle, a lot of mass down, on the quads, on the hamstrings, on the glutes specifically. Calves actually not too big, but guys, let's move on at this point. I didn't think we were going to get this deep on this conversation.
I need to make a comment on this. Okay, so I was once at the beach with one of my friends who I'll leave nameless for his sake. And there was a guy running by with headphones, so he yelled to him so he heard and said, "You have nice quads." I was like, Okay, that was the weirdest interaction I've ever been a part of. So now there's a second one that apparently this is a thing that happens.
Yeah, hey, there's nothing wrong with it. It makes the guy feel good. I'm sure the guy running with his headphones in, had a little pep in his step the rest of his run. So I appreciate it. Christian, how are you doing? Most importantly.
Oh wow, thanks. I'm okay. I had a soccer game today and I made a lot of mistakes. We won anyway, but like I felt really bad about myself. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now.
We're all human, mistakes happen. You'll be okay.
We'll see
how you respond to the mistakes.
I asked my friend to hit me with a car, so I couldn't play soccer anymore. But he didn't find that funny. Okay, so we're gonna move along here.
Drama queen.
Yeah. Christian, do you have a trivia question? Yeah, I do. It's gonna be great. All right. So today, did everybody see today when Manchester United had to make 3 subs in the first half?
Yes.
You guys might know the answer because you watched the game, but do you know the last time a team in the Premier League had to make 3 subs in the first half?
All right.
Well, I'll say who was it as well.
Okay, we'll think on it and give our guesses later. You don't need to pause and wait here.
Well, no, I'm just letting you guys. I like to let you guys have a second to think about it before
the podcast listeners. All right, the podcast listeners don't love dead silence, so we can keep it moving.
Why? They're reflecting as well. I'm giving them plenty of time
to ponder.
Yeah, because we're going to be getting into the nitty gritty soon, and they got to be ready, Dave.
Very true.
All right.
Okay.
So at this point, I'm going to go over to you. It's time for Matt's Megs.
Thank you, Christian, for that lovely introduction. Welcome, everyone, to Matt's Megs. It's going to be probably a shorter segment this week, one topic, talking about the Carabao Cup, League Cup final, which took place today. England, League Cup, Chelsea, Manchester City. Manchester City ended up, wearing the scarf. If you're watching on YouTube, I have the City scarf. Got the first piece of silverware of the year. Feels good. Also, while I'm on this topic, the women won the League Cup yesterday for Man City. So big weekend for the club. So today was probably the crazy eventful thing, especially at the end, where it was a very non-eventful game. Very boring for Manchester City, but towards the end of the game, Kepa
Azerbaijan.
Yeah.
No,
close enough.
Definitely
close
not
enough.
correct.
No, it's not.
Yeah. However you pronounce that name.
Franzubia.
All right. We know the Chelsea keeper.
Yeah. Most expensive keeper in the world. He had a bit of a moment in the probably last 3 minutes of the second period of extra time where the game was 0-0. Neither team kind of were threatening to score. It seemed like both teams were playing for penalties in the kind of the extra time period. And he went down with an injury and was about to be subbed off and refused to be subbed off, or some sort of miscommunication, which stopped the play for about 4 or 5 minutes at the end of the game. Dave, I'll start with you. What do you make about the game in this situation?
So I missed the game, so I only saw the highlights afterwards, and I got texts from people saying, "Can you believe this situation?" or whatnot. So when I went to Twitter, the first thing I saw was Kepa's statement on the situation, and he explained that it was just a misunderstanding. So I was like, "Oh, okay, the media is overblowing this. It's not a big deal. Whatever." Then I saw the video, and it was completely different than the way Kepa made it seem. That did not look like a miscommunication in any way. And Sarri looked like he was storming out. The medical staff was already back on the bench. Kepa made it seem like the medical staff hadn't got back there yet and couldn't explain. And so the whole situation was wild. I've never really seen something like that I can really recall. If they're doing some research, there has been a couple of incidents like that, but it was wild. So yeah, I don't really know what else to say beyond it was very surprising.
Christian, what did you make of that situation?
I mean, practically the commentators were like, what the fuck is going on? At that, they didn't say it, but they were like, I've never seen anything like this before. I mean, we've seen Carlos Tevez refuse to come onto the field before. We've seen things like that.
Refuse to show up to a club.
I mean, yeah.
He's busy golfing in Argentina, Matt. He's got better things to do.
He was at the prison playing with the inmates. Carlos Tevez has been through a lot. So let's talk about Carlos Tevez instead, guys. All right. So this situation was in a nice way. Let's call it bonkers. It was absolutely unacceptable the way that he reacted on the field. He clearly was playing with an injury. He went down twice in a matter of 5 minutes. The medical staff came on the field both times. So Caballero got warmed up both times, was ready to come in. The board went up. At that point, I feel like they have to make the substitution, but I guess not. I look like I guess you don't.
No,
but
I looked into the rules after this, and I can explain later. Christian, continue.
Okay. But yeah, so Sorry comes over and was like, no, it's happening. It was like waving him off. And Kepa was just like reacting like a little child with a tantrum, just like waving his hands and like practically crying on the field. Caballero was just standing there waiting to come on, like, what the fuck, and looking around. And Sorry then loses his shit, almost rips his own shirt off his body instead of taking it off, like unzips it and like starts like pulling at it, starts walking towards the I guess hallway to leave the stadium. And I don't know if someone told him like, stop, don't do that. But yeah, he's like, they opened the door for him because he can't open doors himself apparently. And
so you're just recapping what happened. I think a lot of us saw it. So what were your
people?
Okay,
so
all right.
We can highlight some of the craziness that happened. And so then he walked back to the bench, just fuming, and then Caballero like was crying in the hallway, trying to leave as well. I don't know what the hell was going on, but everybody a little bit overreacted. But it's unacceptable that Kepa behaved the way that he did. I think that he should not be playing right now. I think that he should be suspended from playing by the club for refusing to react or refusing to come off the field when the coach made a decision. And I think Sorry is really, really on the hot seat now because it does appear that he has lost the dressing room.
Yeah, I think I agree with that last point where he's losing the dressing room. When you could see it actually kind of unveiling in front of your eyes in a League Cup in a final. It made no sense, kind of. So like a lot of things were going through my mind as it was playing out because this 5-minute period, like where this is just happening, it was just kind of hard to grasp everything. So at first I just like thought he was milking an injury, very standard soccer thing at the end of the game. Try to get this to penalties, but then it made no sense how Sorry. I don't know if they couldn't couldn't hear each other, but it was just like he knew he was okay. Like Kepa was obviously like signaling with the thumbs up, like he knew he was fine. But then Sorry just like lost his shit when he said he was fine, wanted him to be pulled, and I thought this was like a whole nother like diversion. And you know how like some teams they'll bring on a keeper just to mess with the other teams, like psychologically for a penalty shootout, bring on another goalie. It worked.
Tim Krul.
Yeah, that was Netherlands, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Was it 2010?
The Union tried it as well. Was not successful for the Philadelphia Union.
Yeah. So it's like I didn't know if these were mind games, but just the way everyone conducted themselves. And then after when it was actually going to PKs, Rudiger had to hold back Sorry. It looked like they were like going to fight, like legitimately going to fight in the huddle before penalty kicks. I don't know if you saw that, Dave.
I did not see that highlight.
Yeah, it just made no sense for you to have the performance that Chelsea had where they were just as good, if not better than City for a lot of the game. And then to them break down like that when all you had to do is win a PK shootout. It was just like so surprising to see how this all went down.
So again, I didn't see the match. And for me, the fact that it was 0-0, I mean, City's the best team in England. And the fact that Chelsea took them till the end and took them to penalties, like, I guess I don't understand why this puts him more under the hot seat, but I guess, is it because of what happened at the end in your, like, if this went a different way, if the whole situation happened and then Chelsea won, is he not on the hot seat? Or conversely, if this situation didn't happen and Chelsea lost either in regulation or in penalties, is he more on the hot seat? Is he not on the hot seat then? Like, is it just down to the fact that they lost in the end, or is it because of this whole situation?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I agree with you. It makes.
You think he's on the hot seat either way? Is that what you're?
Well, I think he was on the hot seat, but that's what I'm saying. Like trophies where the actual state of the club doesn't matter if they won that PK shootout or lost. I mean, it's the League Cup. We all know that's probably the least important trophy, throughout the year. It's still silverware, but I mean, it's still nice to get rewarded for something for your season, which I'm sure Sarri could have used at this point. But I don't think it's going to change Chelsea and their legacy or how they're playing by winning that penalty shootout. So I think he's on the hot seat, but I don't think the silverware had anything to do with it. I think it's just the way the club's kind of handling their business right now, and it's just getting kind of hectic there.
Yeah.
I think he was on the hot seat no matter what happened, but I think the fact that they did not win the trophy makes it all worse.
Yeah, I agree. So another thing I want to bring up, City still have the quadruple open. Do you guys think they can do it?
No.
They can do it. Yeah. I would put their chances at 25%.
It's pretty good.
That's way high. Whoa. Yeah. I mean, they already done a fourth of it, so yeah, there you go.
Hey.
Oh yeah.
Quick math.
Quick maths. Yes. Very good. That was exactly what I meant.
Accounting. Let's go.
Okay, and did you see any of the penalty, like any of the shots? So no. Aguero got his. He had a not the best struck penalty, but it was a decent shot to the corner. And Kepa got his hands on it, and it ended up like slowly rolling through. Christian, I think you saw it. So I'll start with you. So are you blaming him? Like, do you think that whole situation was messing with his mind?
Yeah, 100% Caballero would have saved it. 100%. No, I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding. No, I don't think that made any impact. I just think Kepa should have saved it. Yeah. Looking back on it.
Yeah. Dave, you didn't see it?
No.
Okay, yeah. So a lot of people wanted to bring that up, and I think Aguero and Kepa were going at it a bit because Kepa was trying to get in his head before, and then after the whole situation happened and Aguero scored, he started chirping back at him in the middle of the shootout. So, I mean, it's hard for me to say that like Kepa's chances of saving a penalty mattered about what happened a couple minutes ago. I think it was just unfortunate. I don't think that had anything to do with the outcome of the shootout. I think it's pretty much random, any shootout. So I'm not blaming anybody or goalie, or it's just kind of up to chance at that point.
Also thought that in the League Cup they were doing the snake penalties.
The ABBA or whatever.
Yeah.
I thought so too. They did that last year, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, maybe it was just a trial last year and then they didn't follow through with it. I'm not sure.
I don't know.
Oh, but circling back to something I touched on earlier when Christian was talking. So, because people started texting me, like asking, like, can Kepa like do that and just decline like a substitution? And I had no idea. So I looked into it a little bit, and yeah, I mean, ultimately it's up to the player to decide if they're coming off or not. And so the referee can issue like a yellow card or a red for delay of game if the player's, knowingly doing it. But the referee can't force a player off other than, giving them a card. So I never knew that before, but ultimately it's the player's decision on whether he decides to come off or not.
Think some players are going to take advantage of that now after seeing this situation.
Well, apparently Zlatan did in Serie A at one point. I think none of us are surprised at hearing that, right? I mean, I could totally see that happening.
Well, I mean, PSG, he scored in his last game and walked off the field. So
he's just such a boss. Like he's just such a he just fits that narrative so well. Like the character that he plays is just insane. And yeah, it's awesome.
Anything else you guys want to add on this topic?
Nah, I'm good.
All right, I think that's going to wrap up Matt's Megs here. Thank you for joining me. Quick Meg here, quick Megs. Listen to a little bit of music, and we'll be right back.
Good stuff. All right, you want to do the stadium scene plug? Let's keep this mofo rolling along.
Check out our friends over at Stadium Scene if you're going to any stadium in the US or Canada. They have a bunch of good God damn it.
Why the fuck do you guys still have Christmas coasters?
This is my bling. I want to put it on a necklace.
Okay. All right. Let's try to keep.
Okay. Check out our friends over at Stadium Scene if you're going to any stadium in the US or Canada. They have a bunch of information about all the different stadiums, such as events, bars and restaurants, where to go in the stadium, where to park, all this good stuff. And they're over at stadiumscene.tv. Matt, what else can they do?
They also partner with content creators like ourselves and offer you things like podcasts, YouTube videos, blogs, all that fun stuff. For North America, all North America, US and Canada. Yeah, check it out. It's not just soccer, it's all sports. Again, it's at stadiumscene.tv.
Excellent job, guys. Matt's giving you the side eye as you're recording and or as you're talking. It's just overall, I'm just enjoying you guys being together. It's just a lot of fun. And yeah, Christian, whenever you are ready for Christian's Corner.
Yay. Okay, ready. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Christian's Corner, the middle section. So makes all the sense in the world. All right, so we're going to hop right in to this section by talking about VAR, because why not? It seems to be pretty relevant every single week now, and is making a lot of controversial decisions. This one, very, very comical. I don't know if you both saw the video. I think Dave did. Matt,
I did.
No. All right, makes sense. All right, so Legia Warsaw versus Cracovia was the match, and VAR overturned a decision in that game. No, it's not a goal. No, it's not a penalty. It's not even a foul. Well, it is a foul. But they gave a red card for a second yellow to, although his last name's Remy, I just want to get William Remy in the 74th minute. Second yellow, sent off. So he walks away. The decision goes to VAR. The referee reviews, comes back on the field. William Remy returns to the field only for the ref to go, all right, I'm taking the red back and the yellow, pulls back out the red and gives him a straight red. Dave, I'll start with you since you saw the video. What do you think about this situation?
Yeah, and on top of it, he took away the yellow, and then Remy went and started running back onto the pitch, and the ref had to stop him as like, no, it's actually a red. Now, I understand why this is done from a suspension perspective and from like a clerical perspective. I get that this needs to be a straight red rather than a second yellow, but the guy's already off the pitch. I mean, there needs to be some sort of understanding of game flow state by the officials to just, either correct it after the match. He's already gone. Like, I don't understand why it needs to be corrected at that point. And even if it is, like, just have an announcement, and you don't need to bring him back on the pitch and make this huge show of it. I thought it was just really weird and kind of dumb to do it the way that they did.
Yeah, and I think it was like they do in England. I know they have committees to review all different types of fouls and goals and all that stuff. So I feel like they could easily have just changed it to a longer suspension after the game.
But with that, the way England works, I don't know about Poland, which is where this is, but the way that it works is if the referee misses the call, England reviews it. But if the referee sees it, the committee can't review it. And so I get why the head referee needs to change his call, but does it need to happen right there? And does it need to happen the way that it did? Now, maybe by the rules, he did it the right way. It just, maybe the rules need to change.
All right, Matt, what do you think?
Yeah, so I didn't dig much past the headline and what you guys said to me. So I originally thought when he got sent off, I thought he took the yellow card back, and then he immediately got a straight red when he came back on. So I didn't. So thank you for clarifying. Reading past the headlines, you guys. Wow, way to go.
We learned that on last podcast.
Yeah. Yeah, so for me, like going through ref class and things like that, it makes sense why they did it that way. I mean, the refs, especially like the high up refs and the ones that teach the classes and do professional games, they're very intense and like letter to the law with all their reports and everything like that. So it makes sense why they had to do it. I'm not saying like I'm like shocked by it. So I think it's okay for him to bring it back on and then do it the right way, because that way, when you're doing your game report and when you like write down what happened, you have the straight red and you have, kind of like the evidence that happened here. I mean, I understand you could just go over to the coach if he's already off the field and explain what happened, or just have the fourth official, just say something to it. But I think, for everyone to kind of understand what happened, it would make more sense to just give him the straight red.
But for a delay of, I can't remember how long the video lasted, but it was probably a delay of at least a minute, probably more. Like, at the risk of all that, like, I don't know. I don't love that aspect.
It's almost like a slap in the face to the player too, because he got put back on the field and then was back in play running around for like 3 seconds. And then the ref was like, no, wait. And then made him leave again. So it does look really bad, but it is technically the right decision.
I'm less concerned about the player feeling humiliated. I mean, he got a red card that he deserved. It's more like, for me, breaking up the game and just like doing something that, like, the player's already gone. Like, I get, for, again, by the letter of the law, this needs to happen, but I'm saying maybe by the letter of the law, write something in there for VAR where a decision that's clearly an error and is going to be corrected, you don't need to get somebody from the locker room or call him back onto the pitch just to like make a show of it.
Yeah, I mean, that's true, but you do right now.
Boom. Making changes over here.
Yeah, but technically right now, that's how it is.
Yeah, Dave.
That's the way the cookie crumbles, as Bruce Almighty would say.
Good movie.
Dang. So, anything else on this topic?
Nah, I'm good.
Okay. So this is going to be a quick one, just to break up the two longer sections, right here. Did you guys see Bafétimbi Gomez?
Yes, I saw this. Yeah.
I just wanted to mention he did his like lion celebration that he does and scared the shit out of the ball boy kid. And like he was terrified. And for all those watching on YouTube, this is the pictures of him crawling and the kid cowering in fear. After the game, he brought him his jersey and everything, and like I guess it looks like gave him a kiss on the cheek and a hug or whatever. But I guess I'll go to Matt first. What do you think of the situation here?
I think it's just funny. I mean, it's always nice to see like the human side, especially with professional athletes and something like a ball boy or people sitting like who are kind of involved with the game, or like someone that's courtside they get run into, and just seeing how they're nice people too.
Well, like the Philly fan who just flipped off Russell Westbrook, right?
Yeah.
Exactly like that.
Exactly. Good old Philly people.
Philly fans are the best. We're very welcoming of others.
Yeah. It was. I think it's just more of like a nice gesture to see.
Yeah, Dave.
Nothing else to add. Matt hit the nail on the head. It's awesome seeing that stuff and remembering that everybody's kind of human, and it doesn't need to be so serious. So.
Yeah, it's just a really funny situation that the kid was afraid, because I feel like he does that celebration all the time. You kind of would have seen it before.
Maybe he's not playing that well. Maybe he's not in
maybe this is his first goal.
Or maybe he was on the road too. I guess
it's his first goal in 50 years or something like that, right? Okay, so we're gonna.
I love that you make yourself laugh. That's what's important.
I just love myself, except for when I play goalie and I suck. All right, so we're gonna move along here. We are going over to England.
This is Christian's therapy session. He's just slowly working through these issues as we go along. He's just gonna mention quips here and there, and then just work it out, which I appreciate. Christian, you're doing a fantastic job, both at goalkeeper and on this podcast. I just want you to know that.
Okay, so the next topic here is going to be about our least favorite team, Chelsea. Well, they're up there. All right, so Chelsea, we talked about them earlier. Yeah. But this is a little bit of a different conversation. This isn't about how they play. This is going to be about how they deal in the transfer market. All right, so we are going to talk about how they have a 2-window ban. So we've seen this with a couple teams in Europe at this point, mostly in Spain, where teams aren't allowed to sign anybody for 2 windows because they breached rules in transfers of minors. So I will go to Matt here first again, because I want to. What do you think of the situation of them getting a 2-window ban and having a $400,000 or pound fine?
I mean, if they're breaking the rules, I think it's appropriate. I think they had how many people out on loan? Some ridiculous number.
842, I think.
No, it's in the 30s. It might be approaching 40s at this point.
Yeah. So just, I guess how they handled that business, it was always kind of, for me, it always seemed like it was like a gray area of them kind of bending the rules. I know City does it too.
It wasn't the loan thing that they got in trouble for. It was the signing of youth players under,
Oh, I thought it was signing them and then loaning.
No.
Oh, I misinterpreted. So wait, what was the? I didn't read much past the headline. So, can we get a better in-depth now?
Do you want me to explain, or Christian, do you want to explain?
Over here.
All right, I'll start, and Dave, if you have any other points, you can chime in. So it's similar to what was happening in Spain, where people are like tapping up younger players, and you're not really allowed to talk to them like at certain ages, and they have contracts technically with other teams. So Chelsea was going and telling them either run out your deal or like do this to try and get the move.
Yeah, and add on top of that, you can't move if you're under 16 years of age from anywhere to a separate country for soccer reasons. If your parents move there for a job or for something else, you can go. Between 16 and 18, if you're an EU citizen, you can move at that point for soccer reasons. But now with Brexit, things are going to get more complicated with that. But basically, Chelsea was found to have been breaching the rules with regards to signing youth players and taking them from other countries and whatnot.
Wait, how do people go to? Quick question, but how do people go to Europe at 16? Like for a work permit? Like I know it's hard for
parents go.
Their parents have to go.
Well, theoretically, so like if they're American, you mean?
Yeah, when he went to Dortmund.
Pulisic got a Czech passport. That's why he moved then. Claudio Reyna's son, whose name's escaping me right now, just got a European passport. Usually you can qualify through like a grandparent or great-grandparent in a lot of instances. And so as long as you have an EU passport, then you can join.
Okay. The more you know.
The more you know. So that's the reason why Chelsea has been suspended. So Matt, can you continue?
Yeah. So I mean, a 2-window ban seems, I guess, appropriate. I think it's a full year. It's enough to punish a team without kind of killing them. And a team like Chelsea, it's not, with all the players they have, it's not going to be detrimental. But I mean, there are people that like Hazard who might leave. Probably, I mean, I think he probably will. And it'll be so hard to replace him. You have a goalie that apparently might never come off the field, even if he's not going to start. So I guess they have to figure that out because they can't sell him now. So it's going to be some things you have to work through, but it's not the end of the world.
Well, Dave, I'll go to you next.
No, I mean, I'd agree with that. I think it seems fair in comparison to, what the other bans were. I mean, in all likelihood, it seems like most of the other clubs appealed the ban and then had it reduced to 1 window. And I think Chelsea was charged with, I think it was somewhere in the 90s of players, and they were able to basically explain 60 some of them away. And so they were left with in the upper, I think it was like 29. I could have the numbers slightly off there, but it was somewhere in the upper 20s of players that basically, they broke the rules on. And so, it makes sense given, they broke the rules and all of that to get this fine. The one thing that was weird to me is that Chelsea got fined, but also the FA got fined. So by FIFA. So Chelsea got fined like £400,000 or £500,000, but so did the FA. And the FA was like, what the hell? I don't know if that same thing happened in Spain. If anyone knows, let us know at BT Soccer Pod. But I found that to be slightly odd.
That is definitely odd. I did not hear about that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the other thing I just wanted to bring up here, which is a little bit of humor related to this, was Gary Lineker's tweet. I don't know if you saw that. He said Chelsea have been given a 2-transfer window ban for breaching the rules for transfer of minors. Spurs have just completed their 2-window ban and they've been fine.
That was a good one.
Yeah, it was very, very good.
Yeah.
I think Chelsea are going to struggle with that. I think they are going to have to sell people coming up because of just a lot of disarray at Chelsea. Everybody's just unhappy, it seems that way, especially their better players. I think Hazard definitely leaves this year. And it's going to be hard because I don't know if they're going to be able to replace those specific players. I know they brought in Pulisic already, but I think it's going to be interesting to see because I know in Spain, they always like appealed and got to actually do the next transfer window, and then it was delayed. So it'll be interesting to see how it works, but I think they're still going to struggle to deal with.
I think they already applied to appeal, or
they did.
Yeah. So I think they are attempting to at least get the next transfer window. And I mean, if you have a full summer transfer window, I think they'll be okay if they miss the next 2 because they'll prepare.
Yeah,
they have the fun.
Absolutely.
I'd agree with that. And to touch on Christian's point, if they don't make Champions League, it's going to be even that much more difficult to hold on to those players. And then, so I guess it makes sense to ask Drew's question here. So Drew sent us a question at It's a Deal on Twitter. Does Chelsea benefit from their transfer ban in any way? So Christian, what do you think about that?
No.
Matthew, what about you?
No, Drew.
Does anyone want to does anyone want to elaborate on why? So the thought process here being Chelsea has a ton of players out on loan. Matt already touched on it earlier. They have 30 to 40 plus out on loan. Add on top of that, they have one of the strongest academies in England with the talented players. Matt, this is just thrilling information for you guys. Both of you look like you're asleep. But for that reason, is there any sort of credence to what Drew's trying to say here?
You want me to go? Okay.
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah. So, I understand that he's saying like the people at the club are going to be more involved and not feel the risk of being replaced like that easily, and especially that can happen that easily at a club like Chelsea. So I think I understand what he's trying to go for, but I don't think you benefit from not being able to bring in top tier talent.
Yeah, I agree. I think that they're not going to benefit at all from this. I think, some of their younger players might get a chance, but it doesn't matter because their top level players are going to leave and they're going to be without Champions League for 2 or 3 years if they don't make it this year.
Yeah, I'd agree with it too. Just playing devil's advocate. That was Dave's dive inception into Christian's Corner. Christian, back over to you.
Do you guys have anything else to add on these topics?
No, I'm good.
All right, so that'll wrap up Christian's Corner here. We'll be back at the end of Dave's Dives to wrap up our trivia question. But listen to this music before we do dive in on Dave.
Well done. All right, Matt, I know you're falling asleep here, so I'll power through this. What's up, Wanted to give a quick plug for our partner, FNX.network. FNX.network is a website you want to check out. It has stories, podcasts, and all different kinds of content across a variety of topics, not just specific to sports. They have sports, so they have our stuff on there, as well as tons of other sport content, but they also have entertainment, video games, lifestyle, tech, more. Hey, it's the Oscars tonight. I know we're all super excited about that. I'm sure there'll be something about that on FNX.network. Check it all out on there, and back to the podcast. All right. All right, we ready?
Then they would all know what happened.
I don't know. No, we're not gonna.
What's up?
Nothing.
Something about a trivia question?
Yeah.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Dave's Dive. We're dumping right into it. We are jumping right into it. Carlos Cordero, U.S. soccer president, recently was interviewed at the whatever the hell as general meeting. I don't know what the hell U.S. soccer calls it, but he basically said there's going to be no more Confederations Cup and the Gold Cup may go away after 2021. Now, he since walked back the Gold Cup comment, but Confederations Cup may be going away. Matt, what do you think about Confederations Cup going away? Are you upset about it?
Well, I kind of liked it. I mean, we weren't in the last one. But I mean, growing up, seeing the Confederations Cup, it was always like an excitement or an exciting tournament. To compete against, the best countries from each confederation, get you prepared for the World Cup at that country. But I mean, it's not the biggest deal if it's not happening. I don't know how it's going to affect like our Gold Cups and things like that to actually qualify for it. But I think they'll make up with the entertainment some other way.
Christian, what about you? What are your feelings on the Confederations Cup going away?
I'm okay with the Confederations Cup going away. I think it did make sense for a while, but I don't really think it does anymore. I think it's just added games where a lot of the top level players are already playing, 60 games in a year at least. And this is just adding more on their bodies. And they really don't need to be playing that many games at this point. And this tournament really is meaningless. And it really is to just check out the stadiums in wherever they're playing, I guess. I know with Qatar coming up, or is that how we're pronouncing it?
I don't know. I pronounce it Qatar. I've heard Qatar. I guess those are the two main ones, but yeah, Qatar.
Yeah, they're building all brand new stadiums. I think they are going to need to test it out, but I guess we're going to see. I think it's a good thing to cut it out though.
Sorry, yeah, I just had like a flashback. So they just let it happen, the Qatar World Cup. I guess they were just like, eventually they were just like, all right, I guess it's going to be here anyways.
Yeah, what, the bidding, the bribes and all that, you mean?
And moving
Yeah.
it to winter and all the
Yep.
thing. And the stadium's not going to be able to be built in like the conditions that they're being built in. And didn't seem like something that was actually going to happen.
Yeah, no, this is happening. And add on top of that, they're legitimately talking about expanding it to 48 teams right now, while Qatar has no sort of diplomatic ties with the other countries that it surrounds. Saudi Arabia tried to make it an island the other year. And there's like a blockade on Qatar by all the surrounding countries. Like, this World Cup is going to be an absolute disaster. And, I'm just not, I mean, we'll watch and hopefully the U.S. qualifies, but it's just going to be, from an off-field perspective, just an absolute nightmare. But getting back to what we're talking about with the Confederations Cup, I am slightly sad that it is going away. I thought it was an interesting sort of unique tournament, and so I'm a little disappointed about that. Talking about the Gold Cup, now Cordero sort of walks back his comments, but the Gold Cup is sort of like a weird tournament. I don't know how you guys feel about it. I still think CONMEBOL and CONCACAF should figure out a way to merge and then just do, the total Copa America like they did, and all kinds of other things. But Matt, what are your feelings on the Gold Cup? Do you like it? Do you want it to go away? What do you think?
I don't love it. I understand, like, that's our confederation that we play against, but it's like almost the same thing every single year. I mean, the other confederations, there's other teams, like there's more teams that have a shot at winning, but other than, how many times has Costa Rica even won the Gold Cup? No.
I don't think. So in its previous iteration, I think they won, but since the Gold Cup, which I think was the late 80s, I don't think they've won.
Have like U.S. and Mexico won probably like 90,
all of them, right?
Yeah, almost all of them. Maybe
Jamaica got.
No, they got
Jamaica made the final of one, and I think Costa Rica made the final of one. But for the most part, it's been U.S. or Mexico dominance.
Yeah. So for me, like, the way I look at just like soccer and CONCACAF, it's just U.S. and Mexico that I'm really worried about, especially in the Gold Cup. I feel like that's the only thing I've ever really worried about. So it's not like a tournament I get excited for unless we're playing Mexico.
Christian, what about you? Thoughts on the Gold Cup?
It's not a very well-run tournament, and it's not well advertised. I think they got to do more with it if they are going to keep it. But I agree with your suggestion of making a huge Copa America. I don't think that they should make it the same year as the Euro, though. I think that'll be rival times, and maybe they make it the year after the World Cup or the year before. But you could still keep the Gold Cup and Copa America separate for that other year. I don't know. That's just my suggestion.
Well, I don't know. I think it might even be better if it is the same year as the Euros, because it would, like, the timing with it being in this hemisphere, might be better. Because the Euro games would happen in the early afternoon, and then in the evening, we would have tournaments here. So I would like it as a fan, but I don't think it would be that big of a deal on that, on that front. Matt, it looks like you have something else to add.
No.
Okay. You're just kind of opening your mouth. I guess you're both yawning at this point. All right, last topic in my section, then we'll move on to listener questions. U.S. under-20 player Richie Ledezma recently chose to join PSV over FC Barcelona, according to his father, because he felt like there was more of an opportunity to have first-team minutes and develop better at PSV versus joining Barcelona. Christian, upon hearing this, what do you think about his dad making those comments? Do you kind of see where he's coming from? Do you think it's do you think he should have chose Barcelona? What do you think?
I think it's probably best for his career. He'll be able to maybe show his talents a little bit more at PSV. I don't really know anything about him. And how old is he right now?
I think 18 or 19. So he's under 20. I think he's 18.
Yeah, but at that age, I feel like you should be already kind of breaking through at a club like Barcelona. They really, really have a very ridiculously competitive academy there. And I think it's really difficult to break through. And at this point, I think a team like PSV, he has more of a chance to break through right now and start showcasing his talent and build up over the next 2 or 3 years to maybe move to a bigger team instead of being at Barcelona, probably either just being in the academy or being loaned out immediately.
But what do you think? You only have 1 or 2 opportunities to get Barcelona like on your resume, on your player resume. What do you think about him sort of foregoing that opportunity right now in the prospect of betting on himself to get time. Matt looks like that may have been his point. So Matt, go ahead.
All right, I guess you're just not gonna finish with Christian, but
Well, no, because you're giving me the finger as I'm talking, so clearly you want to say something.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. I mean, if you're turning down Barcelona, like basically exactly what you were saying, like I doubt you're gonna be able to make the jump from PSV to Barcelona in your early 20s, early to mid 20s. It's kind of like a decision you gotta make right in the moment, and each player is different. Like some people do better at a smaller club where they're more likely to be a star, and some people will do great at a big club, not trying to be a star and just trying to fit in. I mean, there's probably countless examples of both, where some people go to big clubs and are key role players for like a decade. Like Busquets, if he went to like PSV, I doubt he would have had the career he had, but coming up through Barcelona's ranks and being the starting center mid for way more than that, like a decade or more, without having necessarily crazy talent or things like that. Like sometimes, what?
Maybe crazy physical skill.
One touch and he's great with the ball and position. But I'm just saying, like, he's not someone that's going to blow you away, or someone that Barcelona may have noticed if he was at somewhere like PSV. So I think like you got to take this shot when it matters to you.
Christian, what do you think about that concept?
It makes sense, but you also, I know how ridiculous this is going to sound, but as somebody who is very passionate about their teams, he could have been a Real Madrid fan, could be an Espanyol fan, and refuse to play for a team like Barcelona. You don't know.
You can't let that get in the way of your professional career.
That is a thing that exists. I bet you that happens more than you realize.
Wasn't Gerrard an Everton fan?
No, I mean at that age he was like 9. Like I don't think so. But like Pulisic is a Manchester United fan. I mean he chose Chelsea. I mean at that point, once you become a pro, you need to put your career and what's best for you ahead of fandom. So if I don't think that played a role in this, and if it did, I think that's a poor decision by him. But I don't think it would have played a role. And also like PSV is still good at youth development. It's not like he's moving to somewhere that's not known for youth development. It's just there is only so many opportunities where you get, the opportunity to have a Barcelona or a Manchester City or whatever, team you want to call it on your playing resume. And when you don't take that opportunity, it's a tough decision. I totally get it, and I respect it. He's betting on himself to be able to break through, and it's better for his long-term career. It's just a really ballsy move. So I wanted to talk about it. Matt, any other thoughts here?
No, I was just thinking if I was in that situation, what do you do?
Yeah. Christian, what about you?
I think he needs to be somewhere where he's going to break through and play first team minutes now. And I think this is for the best.
I would actually agree with that. And I think especially like Christian was talking about at 18, 19, you need to start getting first team minutes. And so I don't think he's going to be breaking through at Barcelona. So I respect his decision. I think it was the right one for his career. Before we get to listener questions, quick plug, go check out the Soccer Tavern YouTube channel. It has videos about the history, culture, and philosophy of the beautiful game. That is my YouTube channel. And we got all kinds of videos on there, doing a lot of research, and hopefully going to be coming out with some new videos soon. Also wanted to give another quick plug. CONCACAF Champions League has been going on, and we just kind of randomly, at the suggestion of Drew, I want to give him a shout out, started doing these talks, like live streams while the match is going on. We're watching the stream. It's available on Yahoo Sports. We're all watching, and we're just talking about it while the game's going on. So we're chatting. I mean, the videos are about 4 hours long, but come hang out with us while the CONCACAF Champions League is going on. It happens Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays in the evening, East Coast time. So I wanted to give a quick plug for that. Hopefully you two will be here on one of them soon, but we haven't had you guys on yet, but we'll, oh yes, Christian was on for like 15 minutes, which I appreciated, but yeah, come check it out. Come hang with us. It's something different we're trying to do. Listener questions. First up, at Soccer Noob asked us this on Slack. He was actually on some CONCACAF Champions League streams as well, so I appreciate him joining. Is following the tops of tables of European leagues outside of the big 4 or 5 like an NCAA basketball fan following the smaller conferences, or an MLB fan following minor league teams? So, Matthew, did you follow the question?
Reread, please.
So basically, is following multiple European leagues outside of like the big European leagues, kind of like an NCAA fan following the non-power conferences, or an MLB fan following like minor league.
Was that the map?
Yeah, this one.
Yeah.
I mean, I think kind of, because especially in sports like basketball or football, where like the Power Five, it's probably similar to the soccer, probably the Big Five leagues. Probably like it's the same exact concept where all the media attention goes to the big conferences and maybe a couple teams here and there from the smaller conferences, but you're pretty much going to need to play in those to get all that media hype and to get the coverage and to get the support of all the people. You're going to need to play in those big environments.
Christian, what do you think about Noob's comparisons there?
Yeah, I think it's very similar to the NCAA. Specifically, like if you just think about it, there are good teams that aren't in the Power Five conference. Like if you think of UCF in football, it's an option. Yeah, they're an option. Whatever.
You're very knowledgeable.
Yeah. I mean, whatever.
Crown themselves national champions.
They sure did. They sure did. That's just an example of like you see that happen in the non-power leagues. Like Ajax is a team that's always kind of around. Obviously, they're not winning anything, kind of like UCF. But they're there and they're competing at least. It's at some level. And like with Real Madrid, they only lost by 1 and they still have another leg to go. You just don't know. That is a very, very good comparison. Like that's how I would describe it.
Yeah, it's a perfect one. The NCAA one, the MLB one isn't quite as great. Maybe when you get really down the pyramid and like I think they got lots of different conferences and I don't really understand very minor league baseball, but the NCAA one is absolutely perfect. So yeah, good job, Noob, and I think that's a great comparison.
I barely understand Major League Baseball, so I have
yeah, that's very true. All right, next question's from @John M. Collins. I'm going to paraphrase here, but basically the rule makers, IFAB of soccer, are meeting this week and possibly thinking about changing the handball rule to say dropping the deliberate part of the handball rule. And so it's basically just going to be anytime it hits the hand, that's going to be a penalty or foul or whatnot. So Christian, what are the advantages and disadvantages if that deliberate naming gets dropped?
Oof. I will hate it. I think it's a very, very bad decision to do that. I think it will make it, the only positive I see here is it makes it very, very clear to the viewer to understand why something is being called. But if they do that, your hand is in natural positions half the time and the ball can just hit it. Like if your arms are literally just at your sides and the ball hits it, are they going to call that then? Because technically it is a handball then if you take out deliberate, and that's just not correct. You can't control sometimes where your hand is, and if the ball just comes at it immediately, that's unfair for the defender.
Matt, what do you think would be the advantages and disadvantages of dropping deliberate?
I think, I just think it makes it more clear. Each ref has their own opinion of it right now of what a handball is. So I think it just makes the game a lot more simple. If it hits your hand, your defenders are just going to have to learn, put your hands behind your back if you're in the box. Like, it's not that hard of an adjustment. I don't think it's like, I feel like most handballs are called nowadays anyway with VAR, and even if it's not deliberate anymore, if it's like an inch out, like not an inch, but like a couple inches out of your body, they still call it a handball, and it's not like that's
deliberate.
So it's like I think it's just better for the game. I don't really see any negatives to it.
Yeah, even the Otamendi penalty that was called the other week in the Schalke match, like I don't think it was deliberate. Like the ball was struck and he just couldn't get his hand out of the way. But I agree with Matt. I think that it would add so much clarity to the rule, and there would obviously be an adjustment period, but players would just have to adjust. And yeah, it might take a little bit of time, but I think it would just make things a lot more clear. So I'm kind of, I think in favor it. I mean, I'm also someone who is fine with the subjectivity of it. And, I like debating things. So I'm fine that there's subjective nature, to soccer refereeing. But, I understand the advantages of taking this out. So
Dave, you want to be a little bit less wishy-washy and make a decision, please?
Yeah, I was going to say you said both there.
So I'm in favor of it. I had to think about it. In favor of taking deliberate out. All right. Last thing I wanted to kind of bring up. Actually, you know what? No, we're going to talk about this some other time. It's late for you guys, so we'll talk about it some other time. It's not critical. Christian, can you recap our trivia question, and I will give my guess, and Matt will give his.
I would love to. During the Liverpool versus Manchester United match today. Manchester United was forced to make 3 substitutions due to injury in the first half. When was the last time a team had to make 3 subs in the first half in the Premier League, and who was it? Matthew, I'll go to you first.
Are we saying Premier League like it was in the last since 91?
Yes.
Yes, whatever you want, but yes, it is.
Okay, I'm gonna say Portsmouth 2003.
Oh, wow.
It
Dave,
was,
do you know the answer?
I think it was 2015, and I want to say Swansea, and I could have the club wrong.
You were so close. It is January of 2015. It was, you ready? Burnley.
Burnley. Damn it.
Yeah.
I know they said it on the broadcast, and I
They
think
did.
Swansea was the one that had 2 first-half subs in 2017. So thought I remembered, but I didn't. All right, listeners, thank you so much for listening to this episode. Please leave us a review if you liked what you heard here. 5-star reviews help out a ton, especially on iTunes. So we appreciate everyone that has done that. And thank you so much. It only takes a couple seconds and really, really helps us out. Christian, can you tell people about our Slack channel?
Yeah. Join us over at Slack. The way you join is you email us at brostalkingsoccer@gmail.com or tweet at us at BTSoccerPod. We will get you involved. The Slack community is a bunch of channels that are a bunch of different categories, such as transfer rumors, all the top 5 European leagues, MLS, Liga MX, international soccer, all that good stuff. And you're just communicating with other people who love the sport. And we would love to have you there and discuss with you about anything you can think of.
Absolutely. Matt, you want to take us home here?
Yeah, you can follow us on Twitter at BTSoccerPod, and you can go to our website at brostalkingsoccer.com.
Continue.
do that?
Wrap up.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
You can read about us, find past episodes, go to our Amazon store link, buy things from Amazon. You just go through that link. We get a small percentage, no extra cost to you. Helps us monetize the show. We would very much appreciate that. Anything else I need to add, or am I good?
No, that's good.
Oh,
We also have Instagram and Facebook, by the way. It's not
Yes, we
just
do.
Yeah, very true. While I still have the stage, I would like to say last week we're in the listener questions. We had to compare somebody to an actor.
Yeah.
And I said Liverpool was Vince Vaughn to piss you guys off. And then I went upstairs and immediately saw him on a commercial. So I hope I don't jinx myself. Liverpool are back with Vince Vaughn to winning trophies.
Oh, yeah. That's a good point.
Yeah, so hopefully I didn't jinx myself.
Sorry. I also went and did all 20 clubs on our Slack channel. So if you want to see that content, join Slack and you can see all 20 actors, and I compared them to Premier League teams. Matthew, you want to sign us off here?
Thanks for joining us.
All right, people who have joined on YouTube, the podcast will end with Matt's goodbye there. And people that have stopped by on YouTube, thank you so much. If you like the video, click like, subscribe so you know when we're live, and we'll be back. I'm interviewing someone on Tuesday, and then we will have CONCACAF Champions League talk on Tuesday night. Talk to you soon, everybody. See ya. Thanks for stopping by. And Christian actually has to stop the broadcast, which I forgot.